Okay, in this lecture we are going to see how do we formally define a push down automata. So if you remember the formal definition of a finite automata, it consisted of 5 tuples, something like q, which was a set of states, sigma, which was my input alphabet, transition function delta, your initial state q naught, and your final state f. As we have said that your push down automata is same as your finite automata, the only difference is we have a stack here. So what do we do is, for a push down automata we have a 6 tuple machine which just consists of one additional component which corresponds to your stack. So again we have set of states, your input alphabet, we have a tau here which corresponds to your stack alphabet. So these are the symbols which you are going to push and pop out of your stack. And the remaining things are as it is. So your push down automata is a 6 tuple machine. Okay, what next? So q is again the set of states, no issues. Sigma is the input alphabet which you read from the tape, q naught is the starting state, f is the final state. So whenever we write the description of any machine, the most important thing which we need to write is a transition function. How are you going to write the transition function of a push down automata now? We have seen that the transition function of a push down automata, so for a finite state automata it was dependent only on the input tape, but the transition function of a push down automata depends on both your stack as well as your input tape. So how are we going to write it? So first let's understand how a transition happens in your push down automata. If this is the input tape and this is the stack, assume you are currently here in the input tape. I am just trying to generalize this example, and over a period of time you have pushed and popped certain things in the stack. So assume that this is the current condition of your stack having 3 elements. Now how do I describe a transition from one state to another? So what all this transition should compose of? So for a finite states automata the transition was something like this. So it just told me that if on state q0 you get an A, you jump to q1. Now in addition to this A which is from the input tape, we need to take care of stack. So what happens in this case, if I want to write the transition, if I am at this state, let's say qi, the transition is definitely dependent on the input alphabet which is, let's say, A, and it also depends on your stack symbol. So what we are going to see, we are going to see what is currently here in your input tape and what is currently here at your stack top. So the variable or the symbol which is written here corresponds to the top of your stack, and the symbol which is written here is your symbol on your input tape, and what in turn it gives you is the state where you should go to your new state and the symbol which you should write to stack. So please notice, as soon as I see the top of the stack, so to see the top of the stack you need to pop it. So what you just do, as soon as you read it, this is popped, and whatever you write here is actually pushed on to this stack. So let's say I write a beta here, so a beta is pushed on the stack. So how will the things change now? Your read head will move on the next symbol, your state will change to qj, and this will be the current position of your stack. So we'll soon understand it with the help of an example. Just you should get this point right. So in a transition function here we have one thing extra corresponding to the top of the stack which we want to check, and in the output of the transition function we have again an additional symbol here which corresponds to the new top of the stack. How will this transition function look like? when we talked about a finite state automata, if you remember, for a DFA it looked something like this, which means that for any given state and for any given input alphabet, my next state should be defined. For a non-deterministic finite automata, it changed something like this. So this epsilon was here because null transitions are allowed, so I also have null as an input, and it was mapped to PQ. So what was PQ here? This is the power set of your all the states. Why we have PQ here? Because in the case of NFA, it is not necessary that on reading an input on a state, you reach to a single state. You can reach to multiple states. So hence we have PQ here. So if I want to write an instance of this, it goes like this, delta of QA, and if I am reading A at QA, I can actually end up at a number of steps instead of number of states instead of one state. How will I write it down for a push down automata now? So please note that when we are talking about a push down automata now, currently we are starting from non-deterministic push down automata. We'll soon see what is the meaning of this non-deterministic push down automata. Let's first try to see certain transitions which are possible in a push down automata, which will make it clear. So I am writing some of the possible transitions here. If I am having a state Q, I read an input which is A from my input tape. Alpha is my stack top. The new state is Q1. Alpha is popped and we push beta at the place of alpha. So this is one possible transition in my push down automata. There are some more types of transitions possible here. So what if I have something like this? What does it mean? So since we are talking about a non-deterministic push down automata, so you can see these, you can have epsilon symbols both in your input tape and as well as in your stack. So epsilon symbol in the input tape, if you remember from NFA, and epsilon meant that without even reading anything from the input tape, you could take a transition. So same is here. Let me just take this example first. If I read an epsilon from the input tape and there is an A on stack, it gives me Q1. Let's say this is alpha, it gives me Q1 beta. So what does it mean? It means that even without reading anything from the input tape, if I see the symbol alpha on your stack, I can go to the state Q1 and push a beta on your stack, while my read head remains wherever it was, because it is an epsilon transition. That's what happens when we have an epsilon transition. Without reading anything, we can take the transition. Similar thing can happen from the side of the stack as well. You are reading, your input tape has an A, but here you have an epsilon. This means that the stack top, so you remember what the stack top is epsilon. So stack top is epsilon means stack top has a null. So stack top will always have a null. So this basically means even if let's say your stack is something like this, alpha, beta, if I see an epsilon here, it means without actually seeing anything from the stack, because null is trivially present at the top of the stack, you can change your state and you can push another symbol in the stack which can be beta. So what will happen after this transition? Your state will change to Q1, your read head will go one step further and you will have a new beta over here. Okay, what if you have epsilon at both of these places? That means without reading anything from the tape and without no matter whatever is present at the top of this stack, I am going to do this. It means whatever was there as the input tape, so I am not going to move forward on the input tape after this transition, and let's say your stack was something like this. So epsilon is trivially present at the top of the stack. What happened? My state changes to q1 and a beta is pushed here. So all these forms of transitions should be clear to you. Okay. We can also have an epsilon on the right hand side. So whenever for any of these 4 left hand sides, I can also have something like this. What does it mean? So let me take here. So to understand its meaning, you should just go by the connotation that whenever I see a transition written like this, what I have to do? I have to pop this symbol and I have to push this symbol. So in all these cases also, right, here we were popping alpha, pushing beta. Here we were popping alpha, again pushing beta. Here we were popping epsilon. Popping epsilon doesn't mean anything, and we pushed beta. So it only means that you pushed beta, nothing was popped. Here we were popping epsilon, pushing beta, same thing. Here what we are doing is we are popping alpha. So if this was my stack state, we are popping alpha, alpha is popped, and we are pushing epsilon, which means you are pushing nothing. So if you see a transition like this, which it only means that you have popped one symbol out from your stack, right? So it means that you have just popped a symbol. So these are how you write the transitions in your push down automata. There is one thing we are left with. As in the case of, whenever we talk about non-determinism, so for non-determinism we know what happened. For the same inputs we can get more than one output. So in all these examples, for a given input we have taken only one possible output. So for this input we get a q1 here and your stack content changes to beta. Since we are making a non-deterministic machine, more than one such things can happen. So let me just write it down. So it can a transition can also seem to be something like this. So what does it mean? It means that whenever you read an input A and your stack top is alpha, you are at the state Q. So any of these can happen. You can actually go to state Q1 while pushing a symbol beta, and you can also go to the state Q2 while pushing a symbol gamma. You can do any of these. So like an NFA, when you had more than one states for the same input alphabet, you can go to any of these. So what you should do, you should simulate the machine in this direction as well as in this direction, and if in at least one of the cases you reach a final state, you should accept. Same is the thing here. So you should go for this particular chain of execution also and this particular chain of execution also. If it's not getting very clear as of now, don't worry, we'll get it clear with the help of a few examples. So let us see how we can now write the transition function. How will a transition function look for a push down automata? So in the case of a finite state automata, non-deterministic, so in the case of NFA it was something like this. What do you think it will become now in the case of a push down automata? So this was for NFA. If I am talking about PDA, we know, so the first element here is the state, second element here is the input alphabet, which we have seen can consist of an epsilon also, so it becomes sigma epsilon. The second element here is the stack alphabet, which again can also consist of an epsilon, so stack symbol epsilon. So you should see that this sigma A here is nothing but sigma union epsilon, and this is nothing but your stack symbol union epsilon. And what will it give you? So it maps you to a state and a stack symbol, which again can be epsilon. So it maps you to a state and a stack symbol, which can also be an epsilon. So if it is epsilon here, it means you are just popping the topmost element of the stack, and since it can have more than one possible configuration, we are going to take a power set of this. Right? So 1 q into tau epsilon gives you one possible pair of a state and a stack alphabet. So if I take a power set, so we are going to look at all possible states with all possible stack alphabets, and any of that subset can be present here. So you should be able to decode its meaning now. Okay. In the next example, we will try to see how can we design a push down automata for our example A and B n. So we have already seen the logic, how it was working. Whenever you see an A, you push the symbol in a stack, and whenever you push see a B, you pop a symbol from the stack, and at the end your stack should be empty. But how do you exactly write the transition functions and all the set of states and input alphabet and tape alphabet? We will see it in the next lecture.